because I don't have my AC on because it makes too much noise.
The price you pay for a podcast.
Yeah, literally. For a podcast we don't make anything off of.
Oh my God. That reminds me of my grandma when she's all, well, what do you get paid? I said, I know. She said, well, why the hell you do that then? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to Two Guys Unfiltered, a podcast where trans people share their coming out stories, the funny ones, the hard ones, and everything in between. I'm Juju.
And I'm August. So whether you're trans, questioning, or just here to learn, we're glad you're here. Our guest today is Mitchell. He talked about what it's like to be a model. He also came out and quickly then began starting medically transitioning at a pretty young age. So he shared a lot about how his upbringing has made him into the man he is today. So let's get into it. All right, Mitchell. If you can you give us a little introduction of who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Mitchell. I'm originally from New York. Uh, was homeless when I was 16 for a little while, so that was interesting upbringing to have. I had to grow up pretty quick. I've been out in Arizona for about 10 years now. That's been a complete 180 from living in New York, so very, very different. I moved out here when I was turning 21. I'm about to be 30 next year. My birthday actually is September 19th, so I'll be 29. Still in my 20s. So that's fun. Um, I've been through a lot. I've changed a lot. I've evolved immensely as a human being in many aspects, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all over the realm. Lived in many places, lived in Canada for a little while, had my ups and downs in life, but I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be in Arizona, grateful to be here speaking to you guys and hanging out for a little bit. And that's me.
Awesome, thank you. Again, we appreciate you being on. And then in the form, we had you fill out some of your hobbies included football, video games, bunch of stuff. But something that really stood out to me was that you model. Can you talk to us more about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my first modeling gig, I'm not sure if, what you guys can have on here and what you
It's
can't.
unfiltered,
Yeah.
so
And
whatever you're
Oh,
comfortable.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think I was actually let's bring it back a little bit. I was 17 at the time when I was on Grinder.
Okay.
Um, there was this man that hit me up. I wish I could remember where it specifically was in New York, like county wise or whatever, because it was a really weird name. It was like I don't even remember what it was. It was something weird. And what's weird is his assistant hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to come model?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, but I'm trans. I have I have something that most men don't have." And he was like, "What do you?" Well, I said, "Well, I'm trans, so I have a puss. All right. I don't know what words we're comfortable with, but I got something down there." And he's like, "Oh, that's fine. That's totally cool." And so it was $500 for clothed and it was $1,000 for nude. So imagine being 17 years old and you're like $1,000. I'll go
Right.
nude. So that was weirdly enough, that was my first introduction into modeling. It was very interesting. I met up with the guy. He was also naked. He had it was just very interesting for me, for sure. He was actually a photographer though, like a legit published photographer. We were doing a series called With Eyes Closed where it was like black and white, your eyes was closed and he took pictures and stuff. It was very interesting to say the least. It was fun. I did that for a little while until I got too money hungry and he blocked me on everything.
Oh,
But I mean, listen, I was 17. I
yeah.
was I was like, "Yeah, when can I come be naked with you? Like, let's
Right.
take
For
pictures."
$1,000? Why not?
For
right.
$1,000, I'm like, "Babe, what do we gotta do here? I'll throw it back." Like, I don't care. I was like, "I don't give a shit." But slowly after that, I would say it stopped for a little bit, and then when I moved out to Arizona is when it like a whole different world opened up. It's so weird. You think New York has all these experiences and things that you can do, And while I'm sure that's true, but for me, for some reason, it just wasn't accessible. But when I came out here, I got modeling gigs like all over the
Huh.
place. I even have a modeling shoot September 13th that I'm doing this month with a friend art of mine for like Halloween. So like
Okay.
people have always like reached out to me. It was never something that I ever saw myself doing,
Mhm.
but people reached out to me and was like, "You're pretty," and I was like, "All right, sure." I was like, I mean, let's do it. I love it. It's so cool. Like modeling and people taking pictures of you shows you in ways that you would never see yourself.
Oh,
Like
mm,
it's insane. It shows like just such beautiful aspects of you that you never would have even imagined. You know,
mhm.
I feel so confident when I do modeling. I love it. I
That must
adore
be
it. It's fun.
the best compliment, be like, "You should model. Can I take your
Right.
photo?" Like, "Me? Okay,
Me?
sure."
I said, no, it really, it genuinely, it is such a compliment to have someone say, "Hey, can I like take pictures of you? I'd love to have you model." It sometimes feels so surreal because growing up being trans or just being a guy or just being me or someone who you don't have the best confidence, it's a huge confidence booster.
Yeah.
I always grew up never thinking I was gonna ever be attractive to anyone.
Mhm.
So it was really special, and it's always really special for people to want to take pictures of me. It feels really nice.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say that your general experience was pretty accepting of you being trans, or do you have, like, any horror stories with photographers?
Um, I don't have any horror stories, I would say specifically. It's honestly always been accepting, and, I really appreciate that it has been. I think I lucked out for sure with that, because 'cause I'm sure people have horror stories. I would say the only weird thing that has happened to me, and I'm how do I explain this in a way to come across correct? I'm confrontational in a way of, where I stick up for myself, and
Yeah.
I don't get aggressive, I'm not a mean person by any means, but I stick up for myself. I don't like being disrespected. If I see something, I say something, and that's for anybody. There was this one time where I was getting pictures taken of me, and it wasn't like yes, it was sexual, meaning like the way I was being positioned and things like that. But nothing with the photographer. And I hate that sometimes that happens, especially with women. But it happened with me where we're like sexualized almost as if like we're doing the pictures specifically for the photographer in a sexual manner. Like this guy, he had an erection the whole time.
Oh,
And I'm like, baby, put it down. Like
yeah.
I was like, I'm here to take pictures. It was so weird. And I ended up like just unfollowing him. I got my pictures and stuff, unfollowed him. And then he hit me up like maybe a couple months later because he realized I unfollowed him.
Mhm.
And I don't think I confronted him about it because yes, it was serious, but I was just like, "Whatever, dude," you know, I it's obviously a sign as to me unfollowing you. I should have been a little bit more forward, because I usually am, but I think maybe I just didn't have the energy for it. Because I
Right.
sometimes I can't stand men. I know I'm a man,
No,
Yeah, that's
1000%.
real.
I'm sorry. I listen, I love men, but there's sometimes they make me unwell.
Definitely. But that's good to hear that you've had an overall good experience. Yeah.
I did, yeah. It's shocking because like, even like, this was like I said, I'm almost 30, so 12 years ago when trans wasn't it was here and there, sure, but it was kinda like hush hush. It wasn't like where it is now, very accepted and open and things like that. So, like, knowing that that guy back then was incredibly accepting and super cool and actually fascinated about it, and not in a way that was fetishizing me, which was really cool. That's at least how I felt, but it's really wild even 12 years ago that it was a comfortable space for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, to get into your, coming out story, can you give us a little summary of when you realized you were trans, when you came out, and then, how people reacted in your family?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so I was 7 years old, and I remember I was living in South Carolina at the time, and we were all like swimming in the pool. And I vaguely remember looking down and thinking in my head, like, what is this? Like, what's going on with all this? And I remember I went up to my mom and I was like, hey mom, I was like, why do I have these parts? Like, you know, what's going on here? And I don't remember what she said to me. It was probably something along the lines of like, you're a girl, like, these are what the parts are for, whatever, and this is what it is, and this is why you have it. But when I was 7, I felt such a like distinct disconnection between my body and my mind. And I was just like, this isn't this isn't right. This is weird. And then when I was 12 and I started dating girls was when it felt weird personally for me to be a girl dating a girl. And in a sense, not saying like I always felt like a more masculine man or a masculine person, but I just was like, this isn't this isn't right. I just I feel different being with a girl. And so when I was 12, um, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I feel like I feel like a guy. I feel like I'm a boy. And she it kind of like, how do I explain it? It's difficult because my mom abused drugs. So she was high all the time and very, very much unemotionally available, which is something I had to learn as an adult to be. I had to learn almost every single emotion that I've ever experienced in my life because I had an unemotional parent. So, you know, I did not have the support or anything when I told her that. And again, the kind of person that I am is when I want something or when I need something or whatever, I will do whatever it takes to be able to obtain that. And I did that even within my transition because that's just who Mitchell is. I talk in third person sometimes, but that's genuinely who I am. I'm a very much go getter. I knew what I wanted. I knew who I was. And
Mhm.
so I stopped wearing bras. I started wearing boxers. My sister's a lesbian, so she had the attire that I wanted. She wore basketball shorts. She wore a sports bra, whatever, but like she literally wore like American Eagle. She would steal them actually when we would go to the mall. She would stick them in her sweatpants and leave. So not condoning stealing, but that's what she did. She was 10 years older than me, so what am I gonna do? I watched her do that growing up, so I'm like,
Right.
"Okay, yeah." I'm like, "For sure, like, yeah, let's steal." But anyways, I never stole the underwear 'cause I was too scared. Um, Besides the point, when I was 12, whatever, I came out to my mom again, and then when I think I was, like, 13 or 14, I was like, "No, like, this is legit." I don't think I shared the story, but how she actually found out that I fully go by a male outside of her presence, not
Mm,
saying I wasn't a male in her presence, because I absolutely, to me, I was.
right.
I went by Mitchell. I remember there'd be times I'd be on the computer and she'd be like, "Hey, blank, like, come do the dishes." And I'd be like, "I'm not sure who you're talking to, but if you want me to come do the dishes, you're more than welcome to say my name." And that's how I came across. I was a little ignorant, very much, like, very forward with it,
But it
for
sounded like
sure.
you needed to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It again, it's so hard because it mixes in with my mother abusing drugs.
Mhm.
I hate to bring that up so often, but it's just a really
It's
huge
an
factor
important
that
yeah.
plays into it within my transition, within my life, within my family, just within it's a whole realm.
Mhm.
But there was one specific time that she knew that I was serious about it, and I'll share that with you guys because I can literally visualize the whole thing that happened. So she was dating this guy at the time. It was me, my sister Desiree, my mom, and her boyfriend at the time. And we wanted to do bowling night for family or whatever. And this was at the time, I think I was 13 or 14. Like I said, I stopped wearing bras. I was wearing like baggy black shirts,
Mm.
basketball shorts. We went out. I just wasn't having a good time. I don't know how I was feeling, but I was really upset. And my mom could tell that I was in a bad mood. And she wanted everybody to be in a happy mood because she likes to control everybody's emotions. So she wants everybody to be, if she's happy, we're all happy. If she's upset, we're all upset, whatever. So I remember she said, "Well, we don't have to be here anymore." So I remember my sister Desiree and my mom's boyfriend at the time stayed at the bowling alley. She brought me home. She sat me down at the table. And just to give you a little bit of a story, I was dating this girl named Vanessa in South Carolina. Like we would Skype and everything. I would I didn't come out to her as trans because I was very scared of how I was gonna perceived, especially because she was from the South. But I would literally steal my sister's dildo. I'm sorry, it gets sick. I would steal my sister's dildo, and we would be intimate on Skype, and, like, I think she definitely I feel like she thought it was real. Obviously, it was not. I did come out to her, like, a couple months later after, my mom figured out blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so this just gives some story because she was sending me something in the mail, and I kept telling her, "Please tell me when it's delivered," because my mom checks the mail every day, and whatever. I just need to know because my mom will throw it out for whatever the hell lie I made up at that time. So I come home. My mom takes me home back to present life. We sit down at the table. She looks at me and it's like the FBI. She slides over this card to me. It's all red. It was Valentine's because I sent her gifts. She sent me shit. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, my mother found it. I was like, oh my God, my mom checked the motherfucking mail. I was like, Vanessa, why didn't you text me? So she opens it up and at the time, my name was Skylar. I didn't go by Mitchell, but like I changed my name. I didn't change my name twice, but I went by Skylar and then I legally changed it to Mitchell, but whatever. So she opened it and said, "Why does this say to my loving man, Skylar?" She's like, "Who is she talking to and why is it to our address?" And I looked at my mom and all I said, I looked at her, I said, "Mom, I'm a man." And I find it funny because it's so blunt,
Mhm.
it's intense. I mean, it's intense. And this was the third official time that I think she finally took it seriously. And so she looked at me and she stood up and she said, "What the fuck?" And then she went in her room and slammed the door. Um, at that point, she obviously ended up telling the whole family. She
Mhm.
called my aunt, who she calls, for everything, and tells her all the family updates and life and all that stuff. Um, my mom wasn't accepting for the first year or two, like by any means. I wish she would have been, but I think it would have been a different transition for me. It would have been completely different, filled with love, not like hatred and despise and all these other not good emotions that I was being directed at. You know what I mean? And my sister Desiree, who's a part of the community, she's a lesbian. She was very accepting. She literally brought me to her friend Stephanie's house to get a haircut. Like my hair was down to my back or down to my lower back. She literally cut all my hair. I dyed it black. I was super emo. And my sister did cry a little bit, but she was accepting from beginning to end. She called me Mitchell. She called me he. She called me, he and him. And overall, like, was very accepting and loving. And I appreciated that. It wasn't to the fullest extent of what I needed, but it was at least a little bit to get me by. So
Right.
Right.
that was nice, at least to have that.
And then, when did you start testosterone? Did you have to wait till you were 18 by that point?
I didn't. I started testosterone when I was 14 or 15,
Okay.
so I've been on it for hot minute. I feel like
Yeah.
an OG trans guy.
Mhm.
Been on it for a while, yeah, yeah, 5, 10, 15, yeah, I guess 16 years almost, or
Yeah.
15 years, something around there. But
That's so cool to think about.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild. I can't. I don't know how I've been on T this long. I'm just like, holy shit! Like when you sit back and think about it, you're like, what the fuck? It's crazy.
Do
Yeah.
you get to a point where you're just like, in the beginning you're like, oh, 1 month, 2 months, and so forth. Like, do you get to the point where you're just like, oh, I don't know, I'm just me, right? Like you just stop counting years or
Absolutely.
something? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so weird, that you bring that up because I felt bad as a trans guy to
Mhm.
not. I don't remember my shot day. I don't
Mhm.
remember. I remember I had top surgery. I remember I had bottom surgery, but I don't. I like remember the month it was in. I do remember the year it was.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think after I hit like a year on T, I had this like overall confidence of myself because I was like finally like bleeding into who I am, and
Mhm.
everything was like all the neurons and all the shit inside me was finally connecting and shit. So yeah, no, And like I said, I always felt so bad. Like most trans guys are like, yeah, I'm like month 3,200. I'm like, damn, I'm like 3,200 now. And there's nothing. I think it's cool that people remember. I like you said, I think it's when like I finally became who I'm supposed to be, and I fully
Mhm.
felt that in real life, like 2 feet planted.
Right.
It was just like, it's shot day, take my shot, and
Yeah.
then just kind of go on with life. I I never did the voice thing. I just I don't know. I never like recorded my voice. I never did any of that. It kind of was just like, okay, I'm taking the stepping stones to becoming visually, physically who I am, and that's really it. It what for me. It sounds horrible. It wasn't anything like big and monumental. Like yes, it was hella important for me to get on testosterone because they almost denied it to me because I had anger issues. But
Mm.
I was angry because
Because you
y'all
didn't
wouldn't
have
let.
testosterone.
I know it sounds a little
Right.
controversial and backwards, but I never like I like I said I've been on T for a hot minute, but I've never had like the angry roids feelings and
Mhm.
shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, absolutely. I don't remember. It'd be cool to know, but I don't remember any of that
I'm the
specifics,
same way.
unfortunately.
Like, I've only
Oh, cool.
maybe, like, 3, 4 years. I forgot my one-year top surgery passed a few days ago, and I'm like, "Oh, it passed, okay, that's cool." Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
exactly.
I think it was, like, starting testosterone, using a different pronouns, eventually using a different name, like, those milestones didn't matter anymore, it was just a process of becoming who I was, so it I don't know, I didn't think to record my voice 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, like, I don't know, just never felt the need to.
Yeah, it's cool to have another trans guy say that to me because I've never had another trans guy like
Yeah.
express that to me because maybe parts of people do feel some type of way because it almost seemed like it was a part of being trans or a part of
Mhm.
the journey, like the cook or cut journey, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of like remembering this and doing that at this stage and like and it's very cool and comforting to know that like thanks for sharing that because it
Of
feels
course, yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
affirming. Like I'm
I
like, "Oh,
always
I'm not a
yeah, I
weirdo."
always felt so left out. I'm like, "Damn, I don't have videos of me 1 month."
Right.
Like, I'll try to find videos pre-T, I'm like, "Oh, that's what I sounded like, okay." But, like,
Yeah.
I never bothered to take
I don't
records of
know.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, same.
I have, like, a countdown on my phone. That's the only reason I remember, but that's about it.
No, Juju's on it. Like,
And I
every
love it.
time
That's awesome.
yeah, every time he posts, every month.
Yeah. That's cool.
Um,
That is really cool. Like, I love people who do that. It just wasn't a part of my
Right.
own journey. Like,
Same.
even with when I had top surgery, like, I was just I was like, "Okay, cool. Hell yeah. Like, this is great." I don't know how to explain it. Like, I am a very optimistic, happy guy. I love when good shit happens, but it just seemed like for me, it's just everything was falling into place for who I am. So
Mhm.
it wasn't. I was like, oh, I'm a man. Whatever. This is what I'm getting done. It didn't seem anything like extravagant or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I
for sure.
kind of finalized my name change. I haven't posted
Oh,
about it.
congrats.
Like, I'm not like, "Hey, I'm finally this name," because I feel like, I don't know, I've always been that name in my
Yeah.
head somewhere, sometime, so it's like,
Yeah.
why announce that I'm finally a name? I feel like by posting it, it's like, "Oh, I am finally this name," but it's like, "No, I've been that name." I don't know, that's how
Exactly.
I see it.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I honestly feel the same way. I was the same way with my name change. When I changed it, it just changed. Everybody already knew me by Mitchell.
Right.
They didn't I don't think it did any justice of them knowing it's official. That's already who
Mhm.
I am. It's already who
Exactly.
I've been. So I
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I get it. Yeah. That's awesome.
What's one thing, someone should have warned you about before starting testosterone?
What's one thing someone probably the ass hair. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I shave that shit and then it's fucking worse. Feels like I don't know,
That's why I
hell is
never touch it.
They just leave
Yep,
it.
yeah. I just shaved my ass a week ago. I recommend not doing it. I get in these moods where I'm like, yeah, let me shave my ass. And then I do it and I'm like, why the fuck did I shave my ass? God, but what is one thing that should have been warned about? That's a great question. Dang, I really got to think about that one. I would say maybe like some things health wise can come from it that I guess people don't recognize long term
Yeah.
wise. Um, like I have chronic pancreatitis, which is from testosterone from being on steroids. I've had chronic pancreatitis for like 3 years now. I guess I wasn't fully informed, and I don't think they were either. Like I said, I think back then, it's like things were just starting out. Things were
Right.
just starting off almost, like, not obviously officially like, "Oh, this is when it started," but, like, the introduction of things, I feel like we weren't really aware of the things that could happen to our bodies, especially I hate to get into it, but, like, biologically. I know personally what's inside of me biologically can't be changed, which is fine. It doesn't affect me. And people always on TikTok try to say shit like that to
Yeah.
me. I'm like, brother, you think I give a shit my X and Y and Z and what and the
The whole
biologicalness?
bones thing that they would
The
identify you as a female. Like,
like
I'm dead already. Why does it
I'm
matter?
yeah, I'm literally gone. I could care less. And like people always try to like use the biological one on me, and it's so funny. It's like I don't biologically sure. I don't give a shit. I have a beard. I'm fine. I don't care. Like I
Hmm.
genuinely, I I was bullied my whole life. You think by saying that to me it's going to affect me?
Right.
No, I had to grow thick skin. Um, but anyways, like there are some things like, pancreatitis like that did affect me, but it doesn't anymore. Like I take pills and stuff for it. Um, but I would say like that's the only thing. Other than that, I live a very like happy life being on testosterone.
Hmm.
I don't know what I could have been told. I don't even think being told that I would have stopped going on it because literally being on testosterone made me feel so good and made me
Yeah.
everything that I am. So like I wouldn't want it any other way than being on testosterone, even if they did share that with me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they, of course, shared, the heart attacks and all this other stuff, high blood pressure, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
Like they very much educate us on what we're going into. I'm sure that pancreatitis was something that was way far off that whatever. Unfortunately, my body did what it needed to do. But I'm still able to be on testosterone. I'm still able to like live with having this. So it's nothing like incredibly detrimental to my health, but
Right.
I can't really think of anything that they would have warned me about. I got personally everything that I could have ever wanted out of it. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Deeper voice, hairy body, hairy butthole. Like I didn't want that one, but I got everything that I wanted. So I can't really say anything that they could have warned me about.
Yeah. And how was that process starting at, you said 14 years old, right?
Yeah.
Was there like, okay, you gotta go to therapy first. Okay, you have to do this first because you were so young. Can you tell more about that process?
Yeah, like, I had to go to therapy for at least a couple of months
Okay.
before I started testosterone. Like I said, they said the one person was like, "Well, you have anger issues," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure I do. It's because you're not allowing me to. You're like stopping me full force when I'm trying to be myself,
Right.
and then you're like, I was an angry kid. I mean, my mom was abusing drugs. I was homeless. Like, you want me
How
to be
how else did
happy?
they want you to feel? Yeah.
Right.
It's, like, crazy. I feel like in some ways it's so interesting, like, even talking about it out loud. It's, like, almost like reflecting on it a little bit. It's like maybe she was transphobic and just didn't want me to
Mhm.
because she should have, like, taken a step back and looked at the full
Right.
picture. Like, "Oh, he's not angry, because he's just simply angry. There's legitimate reasons
Mhm.
behind why I was unwell." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I wasn't
Right.
just unwell to be unwell. I'm a 14, 15-year-old kid. I should be having a great life, but I'm
You're a product of your
angry.
own environment that you were
E
raised in. Yeah.
exactly, and it wasn't a cool environment, so how do you expect me to be happy? But after convincing this therapist, and it was crazy because it was at an LGBT organization called Choices in
Mhm.
Albany, New York, which I don't know if is a thing anymore. It still might be, but I used to go to like trans groups. We would have like meetups every Tuesday and stuff. But yeah, so they wouldn't put me on testosterone because I was angry. But then again, I convinced her. I'm like, no, like put me on it. I ain't gonna be angry. Like I promise you, I'm not gonna be angry. So I went to I think what was his name? I don't remember. Something with a W, his name was, and I remember I got my first shot. I was actually with my friend. I almost said his whole name. Sometimes I do that when I have conversations. I give their whole name, but I don't want to because what's crazy is he was the guy who made me realize that I am trans, like that there was a word behind it.
Mhm.
We can get into that later or now, but it was interesting. He was the first trans guy in my school when I was in 8th grade, I remember.
Okay.
And he came up to me and was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know next year I'm going to be going by this name." And I was like, "Oh," I
Huh.
didn't judge. I was like, "Oh, very cool. I don't know what that means, but that's very cool." He's like, "Well, I'm trans." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I still don't know what that means, but very cool." And I remember that night I went home on my computer, I typed it up, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's me." And anyways, we became friends and people loved him, but for some reason did not like me.
Mm.
Is a long story. School was rough, but anyways, he came to me with my first shot of testosterone. I remember he actually put it in my leg because I couldn't do it. I was super nervous to do it, and that shit hurt so bad. My muscle ended up like moving. I don't know if you guys ever
Oh.
experienced that where you put it in your leg and your muscle moves a little bit.
Mm-mm.
Definitely. I think
Not
that's
fun.
you explained the pain, the reason
Yep.
behind the pain now.
Yeah, yeah. Not a good time. But that was the process. Yeah, I did have to get a letter from I think my primary care, my therapist stating how long I've been living as a man, that I'm in therapy for it. When I went to therapy at the time, they diagnosed me with gender identity disorder actually, and
Mm.
I at first, before the anger issues, before that was the excuse, she sent me to a behavioral therapist because it was looked at as a disorder
Right.
in this book of all definitions of like schizophrenia, bipolar, BPD.
DSM-5, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And anyways, yeah. So I remember they were in a way they were trying to like convert me and be like, "This isn't who you are. Like it's probably because your sister's a lesbian and your father passed away and all this other weird shit."
Jesus.
And I'm like, "Girl, no, I'm just a dude. Like, come on, like,
Yeah.
it ain't that serious. Let me do what I got to do." But yeah, that was the process. It was I would say looking back at it, it was rough. I'm sure now it's still the same requirements, but it's probably a
Mhm.
lot more smoother, accepting, and kind. And like, there's probably better there definitely better resources than there was back then. Like for real, it was rough back then.
But
Felt
just
very alone.
knowing that you were able to eventually access it, like, they didn't just fully make you stop until you were 18, and
Oh
now
yeah,
you're able to make that decision for yourself. Like, "No, I already fucking knew," yes, I
literally.
agree, if you're that young, you should go to therapy prior, but I
Yeah,
think not so you can convince, but so you can better understand what it's like to feel that way.
Yeah.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I am very grateful that I was able to get it at such a young age because I know a lot of people aren't able to get it until they're 18.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine where my life would be at if I started testosterone at 18 compared to like 14. I know it's only like a 4-year difference, but
But a lot
it's
happens
it,
during those
a lot
years. Yeah.
happens in those times. A lot of socialization as a man, like
Mhm.
it's very different. It really is.
And what has I know, like, you've had a pretty rocky childhood, but, what has been, like, some key memories that you look back on and you're like, "Damn, that moment of support has defined who I am today."
I would say the one time my sister brought me to get a haircut, I remember I was like crying to her and I was just like, Des, like this is what I want. Cause she
Mhm.
asked me, she's like, "Is this what you want?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'm a man. Like I don't know what else to say. Like I'm a guy. Like just it feels right. It's who I am.
Mhm.
And her taking me to her friend's house behind my mom's back because my mom was not accepting, did not want that to happen at all. She took me under her wing and brought me over to her friend's house, Stephanie's, and like, she was tearing up in front of me because I'm sure it was very emotional for her to see the transition of like, my hair being this long to being right here,
Right.
it dyed all black. And that was like a pretty monumental moment for me. Um, that me and my sister will share for the rest of our lives, I'm sure. Um, and I appreciate that time that she was there for me because I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have any support because I genuinely didn't have anybody family wise, friend wise. I was accepting. I grew up in a really small town, so everybody knew everybody. Unfortunately, there was no
Mhm.
way for me to like get out of it. But yeah, I would say that moment was the most monumental moment that I had when I first started transitioning. I wish there was more, like, there's affirming moments that I've had, like, with, this girl that I dated that just made me feel like a guy, it just made me feel very normal, and that was affirming for me, but my childhood, I would say up until I was like 18, 19 was just gnarly. It was just so chaotic. It's so hard to reflect back on such positive moments because truthfully and honestly, there was not many. I had a rough upbringing. It was hardcore, but if I had to pick 2, it probably, again, would be my sister, and then my first girlfriend that I ever had, like, in real life, she was just so sweet. She made me feel very comfortable in my skin, and she was a really cool chick. Obviously, we didn't last. She broke up with me because she said I was too immature. Which honestly, you know what? It's absolutely fair because I know I was. I was very immature, and that's totally fine. But yeah, she was a cool chick. She was actually a senior and I think I was a freshman. I don't know if that's illegal, but it was yeah.
How's she
So I
gonna
think I
blame
was.
you for being immature if
Why you date me
you
then?
right.
Well,
Don't
you
date
chose
younger
this life.
men then.
You chose this life.
Yeah.
For real though, but yeah, the probably were the two times I felt it was just like gender affirming and just felt good within my own transition. I
Yeah.
wish there was more to share. There definitely has been more in my 20s just with like, my friends, people dating, just life. But yeah, in the beginning of my transition, that was it for sure.
Breaking news!
In the recent shooting and death of Charlie Kirk, some right-wing media outlet falsely claimed that the shooter was associated with Charlie Kirk's death was a transgender person. However, this claim has been debunked, and there is no evidence supporting that this individual identifies as transgender. We can, of course, see how this increases threats to the trans community as a whole and how far the right is willing to go to put us in more harm within society.
Oregon Republican legislator Cyrus Javadi has reported that he will seek re-election under the Democratic Party next year. Reflecting on the current political climate, Javadi has expressed that the Republican Party is simply isolating minority communities when politically convenient, stating that he feels the current message of the party is to just vote no or else. This has become increasingly telling as Javadi has had his windows of his dental clinic smashed, confirming his belief that the Republican Party is more interested in burning things down than unifying America.
In more positive news, the Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs just blocked 3 anti-trans bills. One tried to stop people from changing their gender on their birth certificate. Another would cut money from colleges that talk about gender identity. And last, one tried to erase legal rights for trans people. Hobbs said these bills don't solve real problems and told lawmakers to focus on things that actually help people, like jobs, safety, and health. So that's definitely a win for Arizona.
If you want to read more into these stories, the links to the articles will be in the description below. And you kind of touched on it a little bit already too, but how do you think transitioning at a young age has made you grow into who you are now?
It with the life that I had, it almost like added another thing that I had to work on and finish at such a young age. I had to grow up really, really fast. So adding that into the mix was just like another thing that I had to finish and complete.
Right.
But it helped me. It's so interesting. It really transitioning at such a young age. Like I was able to watch other boys my age and act like them and kind of grow up with them
Mm-hmm.
in certain aspects. And obviously not all of them were good because they were very toxic people. Like I remember one of my core not core values or let me rewind. One of my core memories, not values,
Mm-hmm.
was me what's the word? Oh my god, I can't think of the word. Oh my god, Mitchell, help me. When you would what's it called when you like have your pants down? I can't like baggy, not baggy pants, but it's
Sagging.
like yes. So I know that sounds insane, but that was one of my first things that I did when I was like, when I felt like I passed a little bit, I
Mm-hmm.
would sag my pants. And that was the first thing I learned from men, which is not saying a lot. That's kind of horrible. To sag your pants. Hello. I think I sagged my pants until I was like 17. And then I was like, what the fuck? I was like, let me pull my pants up. I'm wearing a belt.
That's so
And
funny.
I was alternative and emo, so I don't know if y'all remember this shit, but I would wear 2 belts. So, like, one in my actual
Mm.
loop and then one on top, like, tilted
All the
like this,
studded
like
ones. Yeah.
Yes, that would put holes in your t-shirt. But it was interesting socializing and growing up, like, able from 14, because like, if I had to wait until I was 18 or later in life, I feel like I would have been socialized differently
Most
than I was
definitely.
socialized as a man. There's been a lot of things that I've had to, unlearn, like treating myself and treating other people and
Mhm.
skincare and all these other things, because growing up, like the generic man,
Didn't do that.
they they don't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very it was interesting. I'm grateful that I was able to grow up when I was like, 14, 15 as a boy, and then,
Mhm.
as a teenager, and, as an adolescent, whatever. And then as a man now, as an adult, it's definitely, it's been nice. I couldn't think of, I don't even know where I'd be if I had any other life, any other way,
Right.
starting transitioning later in my life, which nothing wrong with it. It would be it's different.
Mhm.
I feel like I've been a man my whole life because I was able to do that at such a young age.
Right. Yeah, 'cause I it's funny that you mentioned the sagging pants thing, because on my way home today, I was like, "I don't understand why people" someone was walking across the street. I was like, "I don't understand why people sag their pants. Like, how does that feel comfortable?" Because 'Cause I'm
I
a
don't
belt person. I want it snatched, like, stuck to my waist. I don't
I'm the same way now.
any little inch that it falls down, no, picking it right back up. I
Yep.
can't understand it.
It was so comfortable. And then I actually had to start sagging as of recently, because I had a surgery for on my phallus, whatever, my
Mhm.
penis. I had a surgery, so I've had to sag my pants a little bit, and it's been almost like PTSD. I'm like, "Wait, where am I?" I'm like, "Oh my god, this is scary." But no, honestly, it's so fucking comfortable, but I can never imagine sagging out in real life, like out in the
Right.
out in the world. No, like I used to. Like, I'd be sagging walking to McDonald's, I'd be sagging on the sidewalk. I'd be sagging everywhere. Like, that's crazy, but that's like the one thing I remember from being a man is sagging your pants and having
Mhm.
no skincare routine and smelling like shit.
Right. No
Like, hello?
deodorant, for some reason makes
No,
you manlier if you smell like BO.
ugh,
Doesn't make
God.
sense.
I
Don't wash
know.
your
And like,
hands.
Yeah,
no,
don't
didn't
wash your
wash your
hands.
hands, didn't wash your ass. Like, it was scary out here in these streets. Like, I don't know. The what I had to look up to was not. I mean, I was in high school and middle
Mhm.
school, so these kids, and I didn't have a father growing up. I was all around all women, so I that was what I looked up to. I mean, that
Right.
was it. That was it for me.
Would you say that you struggled a lot with, having positive versions of masculinity? And I feel like in men's spaces, it's very transphobic, homophobic. Like,
Oh
how
God, yeah.
how did you deal with those conversations? Because I mean, transitioning at 14, you were already passing, like, once you're 18, so
Yeah.
how did you
Like,
deal with those
I
conversations?
how did I deal with those conversations as a kid, like when I was
Or
younger?
as, like, an adult when you were in your 20s, when you're 18?
Okay, yeah, I would say when I was younger, it was rough for sure, because kids were incredibly judgmental.
Mhm.
Like, I transitioned into my, I think, ninth grade year, and I was hoping, since I'd be in a bigger school, that nobody would notice me or know who I am. I looked completely different. Like, I literally had hair that covered my entire face. You couldn't even see my face.
You were
I'm
emo
sure
kid.
I was emo to heart, like,
Yeah,
absolutely. And now I'm just a punk alternative emo kid
love it.
still, which is fine. But honestly, how I dealt with those when I was younger, I wouldn't say, like I said, I had anger problems. I had a lot of fury because I was very much tired of being bullied.
Mhm.
Like, people would call me like the T word,
Right.
people would call me the F slur. People would call me a lesbian. People would just say a lot of evil, hurtful shit. And nowadays, I deal with transphobia in ways of, like, rejection when it comes to men. Like, if I reject a man, let's say specifically on Grinder,
Mhm.
okay? If I don't wanna hook up with you and I respectfully decline, they will then attack not my character, but
Mm.
my transness.
Yeah.
Like, they think they have one up, and, like, that bothers me. Like, my transness is what made me who I am and made me who I am in many aspects of my
Mhm.
life. It made me kinder, more gentle, more aware. Like, so you saying these things to me, I don't know where you think you're going with it, but I, as an adult now, when I deal with transphobia, I do deal with it here and there. Not as much as I used to when I was younger by any means. I think maybe people know not to fuck with me,
Right.
but, or maybe they're scared to. But again, I don't do no physical violence. That's not who I am. I have, as an adult who has become self-aware and grounded, I kill people with kindness. I have no time to stoop to anybody's level. I don't
Mhm.
have time for injustices. I don't have time for bullying. And when I say I don't have time, like, it's not going to happen around me. My friends aren't going to be bullied. I'm not going to be bullied. You're not going to talk to me like that. Like, it's just not going to happen. I always shut it down. That's just who I am, and who I have been for a really long time now. Um, I deal with transphobia even within the community of other trans men. Like, that's been so interesting for me, is dealing with like hate within our own community. Cause I got that a lot, I would say a couple years ago. Like, I was living with this one guy, he was a trans man, and our friendship kind of dwindled and like lost the flame and lost connection because he was jealous of where I was at within my transition. At that point in time, I was on testosterone, top surgery, bottom surgery for like 12 years. And not saying everybody needs to do that. That's my
Mhm.
own journey. Nobody needs to get bottom or top surgery, whatever. Like, I don't care what you get. This is your journey, not mine. And he was only on testosterone for like 3 months. And I was trying to explain to him, like, dude, it's 3 months, man. Like, these things will come. Like, you're not going to instantly look like me. You're also never going to look like me in general. We're two
Right.
different people.
Right.
But that's the fourth no joke trans guy that I've had that happen to, where there's like hate within the community, and it's like it's judgmental, and it's like forcing your insecurities onto me when they're not
Mhm.
mine to own, they're yours to own. That's not fair to put your own insecurities on me, because I'm loving you as a friend. I'm hanging out with you. I care about you. I talk great about you. I don't see you anything other than who you are. So, and we're, babe, hello, we're in the same boat. We're both trans.
Yeah.
Like, we're
Right.
all in this journey together. It's everybody's journey, of course, is very specific and unique to their own journey, but like, that's where I get that is where I get a lot of like hate from. And then also within the gay men community, it's
Mm.
very, very, very outstanding there, unfortunately. And I don't know why, but it's there and it's shitty.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it's there, but it's there.
Yeah. And overall, what would you say has been the most joyful part of transitioning, whether it be your childhood, in your 20s, or even this year, past few months?
The most joyful part about like being trans, I would say probably within my past like 6 years, or maybe 5 years, I feel just really, really settled into life socially, like physically, emotionally, just overall, I feel very settled and calm and chaotic from the life that I had prior. I feel
Mhm.
like from going the life that I lead and live is a very calm life. Like, I don't want anything else other than peace in my life. I just can't. I don't have time for it. I lived such a chaotic
Mhm.
childhood. I just don't have any time for it. But I would even say within like the past like 3 months, I had a surgery that I've been waiting for 10 years since I first. So I had bottom surgery back in 2016. And I've been waiting for glandsplasty, which was like the last thing I personally felt like I needed to really complete myself. And when I got that, I had like this euphoria feeling, like it was insane. Like, I can't even explain it. I remember like the next day out of surgery, or the next day, like post-op, I was in bed in San Francisco, and I woke up and I looked at my member and I was just like, damn, dude. I was like, I waited 10 years for this. It was such a monumental moment for me. I felt genuinely and fully complete with myself. I
Mhm.
like, for once in my life, for the past 10 years, I have felt like there's always been this thing missing. And I always try to talk myself down from like, no, you don't need it. Like, you should accept your body for how it is, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, whatever. Like, and which is fine. And maybe we should accept our bodies for how it is. But also, like, for us to be happy, I need to like do these things that will get me to that point. And this
Mhm.
was the surgery. I waited so long because there was insurance problems and shit like that. And I wasn't able to find the time off of work. I didn't have the right insurance. Like there were so many factors that played into it. And I wasn't able to get it for so many years. And yeah, when I finally got it, this was like the most amazing I felt. I felt sexy and confident. I felt like desirable. It like changed and opened up a whole new world for me in ways of like how I take pictures of myself nude and like
Mhm.
how I just feel being in a locker room with other men nude. Like even though I had a dick, I didn't personally feel like I had a dick because it wasn't fully completed to the extent that I needed.
Right.
And like it was, I haven't had gender euphoria in a really long time because I feel like I've been doing this for a really long time. I
Yeah.
make it sound like a job, but like I've been up in this damn thing for a long time, so I haven't felt that euphoria. And so like when I got this surgery, it brought me back to like my roots, and it felt really nice to get that euphoria again because I haven't had it in so long. Like I just felt so sexy, confident, like overall I felt so good. I really did. It was the best decision that I finally decided to be like, no, like everything lined up perfectly. My insurance, I met my deductible, like coverage, whatever. It was like meant to be. So when it finally happened, I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, this is great. I was like, this is what I need. And yeah, that's been the most this past year overall, the past couple of months have been like just amazing to me. Very,
I love
very
that.
grateful.
Love that for you. Did
Yeah,
would
it's
you
like
say that your bottom dysphoria was more like a mental thing rather than like a physical thing?
so when I explained my bottom dysphoria, a lot of people, or I wouldn't say a lot of people, I actually don't even know how people would feel, but I feel like people might get offended by it, but I'll still share it because it's
Mhm.
how I feel. So I loved what I had. I really did. I loved that thing. Like it was, I did. It was great. That thing did what it needed to do. But I wanted something. I wanted to put something in my partner that was actually attached to me and mine. Even though I loved what I had, like I really did. I never felt dysphoric about what I had down there,
Okay.
and that's the truth. I really didn't. And it's so interesting talking to other trans men who have had phalloplasty or some type of metatoidoplasty or bottom surgery in general. Like one of my friends said, I remember there's this place back in San Francisco called Quest, which is where trans men who are getting bottom surgery in San Francisco or Oakland in the area get to stay, and like 6 to 10 people get to stay in there at a
Mm.
time. And they get caretakers assigned to them, which is so fucking cool. I wanted to like highlight that because that place is so sick, and I wish I would have known about it because I got an Airbnb and my friend was staying at it. And I was like, "Where are you at the Quest house? Like, what the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
Quest house. I'm like, boy, you just got a dick. Why are you going on a quest? So, anyways, he explained to me like he was so dysphoric, didn't even want to look at it.
Mhm.
And it was very cool and like interesting to see a different side of it because for me it wasn't like that. I honestly only thing I didn't enjoy was my chest.
Mhm.
But down there, I fucked with it, but like I just genuinely wanted something that was like again attached to me that I could penetrate my partner with.
Yeah.
Not having that and having like, something else like an STP or like a dildo or whatever else down there wasn't affirming for me and it didn't feel good. I wanted to be able to feel my partner and please my partner with something that's attached to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I still use toys obviously and all that stuff, but it feels nice having something that's attached to me to be able to put into my partner.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
And as far as like throughout all of the surgeries you had, how would you handle it? How did you handle things mentally, like with recovery?
With recovery, when I first had top surgery, I had a sugar daddy at the time.
Hey.
Hey, yeah. He actually ended up paying for my top surgery, which is very cool. I actually met him on Grinder too. I don't know what the fuck's up with Grinder. I have the weirdest experiences on there. I have really good luck on Grinder. I don't know
It
what's up with
sounds
that
like it
shit.
because I've heard way more bad stories than good stories from it.
I That's probably very accurate. I don't know. I got good luck on Grinder. I got to keep that app around. But shit, I'm like, where was I going with that? But anyway, so yeah, I met this guy on Grinder, and he ended up paying for my top surgery. At the time, I think I was either 17 or 18. That was pretty gnarly because you have to sleep up.
Mhm.
I hated it. It was for me, the main part was the sleeping upright
Yeah.
and then also learning how to breathe. Like, because I wore a binder like 8 hours of the day for like, I don't know, what was it, 4 or 5 years. Every day I wore a binder though, when I did sports, when I lifted, like
Oof.
whatever. Yeah, so my body was shaped differently. I had very much hourglass, and that made me very dysphoric. Did not want to have an hourglass body. Not for me, baby. Not for me. Now I'm built like a box and an upside down Dorito. but
We love
but
the
anyways,
Dorito chip.
that meant he said what?
We love Dorito chip body.
Yeah, yeah. I love Doritos in general, so I mean it works out. But um, dealing with that mentally, I had support, so that was really nice. When I had bottom surgery, which was 2016, I had a fiance at the time. That was by far the gnarliest, most painful surgery I ever had. Again, growing up with a mother who abused drugs, I didn't want to even take a Percocet or a Hydro. I didn't want to take nothing. I took ibuprofen. Yeah, it was I
Really?
had 8 surgeries in one. I had, like, a hysterectomy, scrotoplasty, subtotal vaginectomy, um, God, I don't even remember the other ones, but I had just a lot going on. Thankfully, I had somebody to take care of me. I was still young. I think I was 20 years old at the time. How I dealt with it mentally was I kinda just took each day as it was and kinda just had to push through, like, there was nowhere else for me to go but up from here.
Right.
I finally got what I wanted, I just had to really push through, um, and push through and keep going through what I was going through. And then this last surgery that I've had, which let me preface, I've had in my total life, not even this is trans related and just not trans related. I've had 13 surgeries. So
Okay.
I'm pretty comfortable with getting surgeries. Like I
Yeah.
tore my ACL 4 months ago. I had surgery on my ACL 4 months ago. And then I had surgery 1 month ago on my wiener. So I've had
Might
way
as
too
well
many
just live there.
surgeries. I know, literally, I might just be at the hospital. But when I had surgery on my glands, it was probably the most easiest surgery that I've ever had. I was in San Francisco alone, first time ever traveling alone. Airbnb alone, took care of myself alone, still, taking care of myself. And mentally, like with who I am now, like I don't even I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even think about it. I go through the motions. I know that I'm gonna make it. I don't even need to remind myself that because I know that I am after everything I've conquered in
Mhm.
life. I know that no matter what life throws at me, no matter what I'm going through, I will always come out at the other end
Right.
better, stronger, um, more clear-minded, just overall better off in general. So mentally, like I had to have been strong to get in these surgeries at such a young age and, like, pushing through, but I did it, and I'm really glad that I did
Yeah.
because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't do that.
Most definitely. Taking into account your childhood too, like the every single odds were against you, but you still prevailed and you were just like, nope, I'm still gonna be me, no matter what wrench you throw at
Yeah.
me.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not one to give up on anything. It's hard for me, and, like, maybe it's the Virgo in me because I don't wanna fail and I'm a perfectionist, but I don't like to give up, If I can succeed and I know that I can do it, why not continue to keep trying until I do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind putting in the work no matter what that entails in my life, whether it's my transness, just my regular life, whatever. If like I said, if I want something or if I need something, I'll do everything I absolutely have to get to that point of getting it.
Period.
That's just who I am.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets for I would say some people would say that you transitioned too fast, right? Which not a thing. You take everyone's transitions what pace they want to take it, like you said
Mhm.
before. But do you have any regrets on the process you took? Do you wish you waited longer for certain surgeries?
I wouldn't say that I regret anything. I do wish that I took a little bit. Okay, so I'll have to give you a little story. So for my phalloplasty, I wanted to go to Dr. Chen, which is like world renowned, amazing surgeon. His results are insane. Like I went to him for my glands plasty, but I didn't go to him for my fallow. I
Okay.
wish that I would have. I waited. I feel like I was a little, for me personally, I was a little bit too young and a little bit too immature. Um, because when I got the phone call from my insurance, I had Medicaid of New York, and they were like, "Yeah, like you got approved by this one guy to go to him." And I was like, "Okay, cool. That's great. Let's do it." Looked up his work. I guess at the time I was just so excited to get a dick
Right.
that I was like, "Okay, cool, let's do it." And this man, 77 years old when he did my phalloplasty, a very old man, a very weird old man, and he didn't do this type of surgery that I personally wanted. I wanted to do ALT, which is your thigh that they use. But he didn't offer that. He offered a different type of surgery. And I was just like, yeah, that sounds great. Like at the time, again, I was so like, I don't know what the word is, but
You were just eager to get it done.
I was just, yeah, I
Yeah.
was just eager and I immature in a lot of ways. Like I didn't really think things through ever. Everything was very spontaneous for me. Like again, I was still living in that chaotic mode
Right.
of life. So I'm like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. I wish I would have waited until I had better insurance to go to the surgeon that I wanted to get specifically what I wanted, because now I have to deal, or had to at least deal with the ramifications of my actions of choosing to go to just a surgeon who said yes and they do bottom surgery. When in reality, like I am grateful with how the results came out. I really am. Like it looks fantastic now having glandsplasty, so it's like a separation of shaft to head, whatever.
Mhm.
But at the core of it, I would say it's nice to slow down and really look at the pros and cons. Like if this is something you really want to follow through with, it genuinely changes your whole life. Like again, I really wish I would have went with who I wanted to go to from the beginning, but
Mhm.
it didn't end up happening. So here we are. But again, I fixed the result of my spontaneous pick of who I went to, and I am happy now. I haven't been for the past 10 years because of how it was looking. But again, it's like I fixed the problem of 10 years. Yeah, that's a long ass time. It's a full decade. But I guess I do regret that. I should have slowed down a little bit. And I was young. I was 20 years old. That's young to me.
Yeah.
I'm still young now. I'm 29. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I wish I
I
would have
would
slowed
agree.
down.
I would say 20 years is pretty young because it's such a big surgery. So like, of course,
Yeah,
you're like, I want it. Let's do it. I feel like I
exactly.
was same thing for top surgery. Like I was very eager. Like I didn't really look into who my surgeon was. I looked her up on Reddit. I saw a few photos. I was like, okay, cool, let's go. Luckily,
Yeah,
good results. No regrets.
good.
Like the scars are puffy, but like that's my own doing, keloids, all that.
Oh,
But I
yep.
wish I
Yeah,
put more research into it. I was also very limited because my insurance was like, well, I had Kaiser, so you can only go to Kaiser doctors, and she was the only one available in my area. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna pay for it out of pocket, so let's go.
yeah. So you
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, like my invoice that I got was like $96,000. I'm like, I would have hello? I wouldn't have been able to afford that at
Right.
20. I wouldn't even be able to afford that at now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, yeah, it's nice to relate on that. I wish I would have waited, but I fixed the problem, so
There you go. All better
it
now.
worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out, but definitely future reference if in my next life I'm trans again, which will be fine, I guess. God, no, but I hope that I take things a little bit slower when it comes to surgeries and making sure like I really do get what I want and the best care that I should be receiving
Yeah. Most
for sure.
definitely.
Would that be the, like, advice you would give somebody who's considering getting bottom surgery? Is to, like,
Absolutely.
wait.
Yeah, 100%. Like the advice that I would give is always do what you want and never do something just because somebody else wants that for your body.
Hmm.
Because at a point in time, I was dating this girl that wanted me to get it. And I think I was on the fence at that point. And I think it put me on the fence because it made me feel weird. You're like, why, you don't want to, I get like, maybe you don't want to be with me now for what I have, but let's take a step back for a minute. Like this is my own body. Like my real true advice would be slow down for a minute, take a deep breath. You're going to get there at some point. I
Hmm.
really just think again, you should make sure that you're considering every possible thing that could happen, pros and cons. And if you want to go to a specific surgeon and you need to do these specific things to get to that specific surgeon, absolutely
Do
do it,
it.
because I promise you, some part of you might regret it. You genuinely might regret it. I'm pure example of that. I wish I would have waited, but like I wasn't willing personally. I'll be honest with my
Hmm.
ignorance. I wasn't willing to do the work to wait to figure it out. If like again, if I wanted something, I was going to get it no matter what. but it's not, it doesn't work in all aspects, unfortunately. Like, really, truly, genuinely take your time if you want bottom surgery. Go to people who are reputable. Do not just go to any willy-nilly, like, not to be a add funny con in there or whatever, a little, like, literally go to somebody you actually really want to go to, who
Yeah.
knows what they're doing, for sure. Absolutely.
I mean,
That's
that
my
might be the Virgo, right? Because I'm a Virgo too. I think our
yeah.
birthdays are like a day apart, but
Oh, shoot,
it's
okay.
like you're like real eager, or it's like when you know you want something, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna do it right then.
Mhm.
So like that's
Absolutely.
exactly how I am.
Yeah. Sometimes it bites us in the ass and we just gotta slow down because we wanna get to that finish line so bad, and, we will really do whatever it takes to get to that
Yeah,
point, and sometimes it bites us in the ass, not good.
yeah. And what would you say, or would there be any advice for someone coming out or wanting to come out at like 7 or 12 or basically younger?
Again, I mean, it's a different generation now. We live in a very different world. And while there's a lot of beautiful goodness and love and kindness and gentleness in the world, there's also the other side of it as well. I mean, the world we live in right now, as we all know here, is rough. It's scary. It really is genuinely scary. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's just
Mhm.
it's the reality.
Right.
I'm optimistic, but I like to face the reality of the life that we live in. And, like, coming out at 7 or 8 is absolutely fine. And I say again, take your time. 7 and 8 is really, really young. I was a baby. I mean, that's a baby. I mean, even 12, 13
Yeah.
is a baby. I was
Right.
Even if I was a teenager, 13, I was a child. I really was, which is fine. But I would say, like, I'm not a parent, and I don't personally think I ever will be because I don't want children. Because I love my life. Not saying you can't love your life with children. I'm just saying
They
I
cause a
like
lot of
being
chaos to the life.
correct. Yeah, I like to take naps. I like to go get ice cream when I want
Right.
to. I don't need a little mini me with me. Leave me alone. Um, but I would say, like, take your time and really just try, just be comforting and kind to someone who is coming out at 7 or 8, because there are people and parents who even allow their kids to transition at that age, which is fine, which is cool, and whatnot, because we have such things as hormone blockers, which doesn't really affect the body. It just stops things from happening, to see if that's what someone really wants. And I think it's important to wait until they're like 13, between that 13 and 16-year-old range, because that's when the hormones are kicking in.
Mhm.
And well, unless you're on hormone blockers, but you get what I'm saying. I just think it, like, you're more mind I wouldn't say you're fully mindful is where you would be in your late 20s, or even if somebody even gets to their mindfulness, because some people aren't mindful.
Mm.
Okay?
Right.
Yep.
Some people aren't. I mean, the world we live in, some people are a little unaware, which is their prerogative and how they want to live. But I think, like, between 13 to 16 is a better range to really feel how you're feeling and try to kind of live in that. Like, you're in high school, middle school, it gives you a chance to see, oh, is this how I want to, is this who I am? Is this genuinely who I am? And there's nothing wrong with questioning that and trying to figure it out and testing the waters and doing certain things to try to figure that out. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
Yep.
For me, it was just like, I felt it, I questioned it. And I think when we question it, and we kind of flip the script and look at it in a different manner, we're able to be like, is this me? Is this who I'm supposed to be? When we question things, it allows us to sit in it and reflect and be like, hmm, is this me? You know what I mean? I think that, yeah, just taking some time back and just reflecting is helpful for sure.
And if you could talk to 12-year-old Mitchell, what would you say to him?
Oh gosh, I'd say a lot. I actually talk to him often, funny enough,
Hey,
because
okay.
I do. Yeah, I do a lot of, with my therapist. I do a lot of child healing and inner child work and
Mhm.
whatnot. He actually has, like, his own room set up where it's everything that he wants: purple carpet, cool shit on his walls. I've given him hugs and I cry my eyes out when I do that. But I would say to 12-year-old Mitchell that, like, just keep pushing, keep being the consistent human being that you are. I promise you things will get better. Be gentle with yourself. It really does get better. Um, it really does. And I know that's so cliche to say because people always say, "Oh, it gets better." but it really does, like, and not just saying it naturally gets better, like, if you have to put in work to
Mhm.
get to a better place, you do. You can't just sit around and expect things to get better, and I'm not saying that to be like a hard ass or like tough love. I'm all about love and kindness and gentleness, but, like, to get better, you have to put in the work, and for my 12-year-old Mitchell, I would just, again, tell him to be gentle. Things are gonna be rough. You're gonna see a lot of things that you shouldn't at your age,
Mhm.
um, but the life that you're leading and that you're coming into, you get to find yourself. How cool is that? Like, to be trans, like, we genuinely being trans is so cool to me because we literally get to find
Our true
who we
selves.
are. Yeah, on such a
Mhm.
deep level, like, from top to bottom, like, we really get we the self-discovery of a trans man is the coolest shit ever. I don't think if I was born a cis man, I would be so deep with myself.
Right.
Like, we're
Right.
so deep emotionally, and, like, you need that. Like, we're human, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's really cool. I would definitely tell him, it's gonna be a fun journey for sure, and just stay true to yourself as you always have been, um, and just and do your best to find happiness because it will find you and you'll find it for sure.
Definitely.
And what hopes would you say you have for yourself for the future and for the trans community?
For myself for the future, I would say just kind of keep living the life that I'm living. I'm genuinely very happy, very content. I live a very simple life. I go to work, go to gym, I go to the grocery store, and of course, I go out in nature and have fun. I hope for myself, just in general, not even trans related, that I can sprint and run again because I tore my ACL, so
Right.
that's been very detrimental for my mental health, but I'm doing my best. Very in tune and aware with how I'm feeling like 99.9% of the time. So I very much keep that in check, but I just want to keep elevating myself and living the true authentic life that I've lived with myself, being trans and not trans at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, transness is a part of my identity, but just existing and living as a human being is probably the biggest part of my identity. Um, and what was the other question? I'm so sorry.
The
The other
hopes for
part too.
the trans community, like, what hopes do you
Oh,
have?
yes. I hope that, like, with where we're at in life right now, I really just hope that we can come together more than ever right now. I think it's super imperative and very important that we do. Um, we just we need community,
Mhm.
especially in the state that I live in. There's not a lot of community. I live in Arizona. There's just not a lot going on here. And I know we're in a very lonely epidemic as well, just in general, not even with the trans community, just in general. Like, people are lonely.
Yeah.
There's so many things that separate us from connecting, with this AI shit and that people using that to communicate. Like, I just for the trans community specifically though, I just hope that we can come together and love each other harder, hug each other, just be there for one another. Life is incredibly short for many of us, unfortunately, and I really just hope that within the next year or so that we can just come together and build a tighter community. The world is scary right now,
Yeah. Right.
and we need friends. We need family. We need supporters. We need allies. Um, I hope it grows, gets bigger, more accepting. We have more events for us. There's more spotlights and shine on us. Yeah, I just hope that we grow bigger and just more community for sure.
Agreed. Agreed. But yeah, that was all the questions we had for you. Was there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to touch on?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you guys hit like a range of all types of things going on in my life. And I'm very grateful that you guys took the time out of the day to spend it with me and hang out and talk with me and get to know me and I get to know you guys.
Back
And
at you. Yeah. I
yeah,
love
I'm really happy that you
Yeah,
guys
I
had
loved
me.
our conversation. It brought a whole new perspective of coming out that I didn't think about because I came out at 20 years old. So I was like, what would life have been like if I figured it out at a younger age? I mean, I did identify as non-binary, so it's like that shift of am I a man? But if I was born as a man, I would still be non-binary. So what is gender
Right?
anyways?
Yeah, right. I bet that was a whole interesting spectrum for you to like break down and dive into. That's so
Mhm.
wild. That's
Yeah,
so
I came out
interesting.
at, like, what was it? It was 27, almost 28.
Yeah.
And so like
Okay.
pretty late in life, but it's an interesting experience. I think a lot has to do with like a lot of trauma childhood wise that like kind of blocked it
Absolutely.
out. So they're just
Yeah.
working through that for sure. But no, I
100%.
appreciated the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations for coming out, man.
And
That's
he has
awesome.
top surgery in a week and a half.
No,
Hey,
in 10 days. I think
10
we're 10 days
you
today.
got
days.
surgery in
Yeah.
10 days?
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God, that must
yeah.
be so fucking exciting,
Yeah,
dude. You're
it
probably like
is.
through the roof.
I think I
I'm
got
so
like
I can happy
4
for
days
you.
of work or whatever, and then after that I'm like off for a month. So I'm
Ooh.
chilling.
Well,
Yeah.
enjoy the being off from work as well,
Oh,
Yeah.
because that
definitely. Yeah.
also
Yeah.
feels great. So I get that. Oh my God, I was off for 3 months, and I was a little unwell at the end of the month
I
of the
bet.
3rd,
Yeah.
but dude, congratulations on that. I bet you're
Thank
so
you.
fucking excited.
Yes, I am. Is there any did you want to promote your social media?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sure. If people want to go to my Instagram, it's XX Mitchell's mind with an S. I don't know why I Z'd it. Underscore mine, yeah, underscore mine XX. But that's my Instagram. I think my TikTok's actually the same as well. But those are the only two I'll promote because the other ones are me getting my back blown out. we don't got
X-rated.
and we don't got a
Yeah.
job.
But yeah, your
But yeah,
handles will be in the description as well if they're interested, so they can click it for you.
hell yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really
Of course.
appreciate it. I
Thank
had a
you.
Yes.
blast.
So that's a wrap on today's episode of Two Guys Unfiltered. A huge thank you to Mitchell for sharing his story.
We want to hear from you, the audience, your thoughts on this episode. So Mitchell obviously shared a lot about transitioning at a young age. So in the comments, let us know, what are your thoughts about transitioning at a young age? What would you say to people that disagree with it?
And as always, if today's episode resonated with you or reminded you of your own, we would love to hear from you. Click the link in the description below to fill out a form if you're interested in being our next guest.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Bye.